You ever go to plug-in boutique, look for those plug-in sales, get all pumped up? Oh, I need a new equalizer. How much should I pay for an EQ? Can I get away with $200 for the Fab Pro-Q? I think, is that what it's called? The Fab Pro 2 Super EQ? Does that thing give you back massages as you use it? Does it rub your feet? You know, the one that does the, you know, the curve, but it can do the curve with the downward hump on the EQ setting. Oh, because it's got the weird little curve thing. Oh, exciting. Let me tell you all a little story. Back in the day, Papa Tunefort, that's me, Aaron. Welcome to Tunefort, by the way. I was a muscle junkie. The magazines were always promoting the super creatine, the super protein powder, the thing that'll make you look like the dude on the cover of that magazine, who was actually using so many steroids and growth hormone he couldn't pee in a straight line if he wanted to. I learned that if you want to accomplish most goals, you need to stick to the basics and stick with what works. Now, let's go over some EQ stuff, and I'll show you one that I use all the time, one that I love. It doesn't give you back massages, it doesn't rub your feet, but neither does that Fab Super Sexy EQ. I wouldn't mind having it, but I'm not going to pay $200 for it, man. Come on. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. We go to Plug-in Boutique, and look at this, man, $179. Well, I thought it was more, but ooh, I was $21 too high. Oh, that makes all the difference. Not for me, it doesn't. Look at this, though. Here's that fancy, downward, sexy hump slope thing I was talking. That's what everybody wants in their EQ. Gotta get that. Okay, now let's go take a look at the EQ that I use and love. Costs a lot less, has a great resizable graphic user interface, a GUI, and well, let's check it out. Here we are in Studio One. I have two tracks going on. I have this top track here, which is the bass guitar, and this second track, which is bass synth. They both take up near the same frequency range. You're not going to hear the audio from this. The point of this is to show how the plugin itself works. If you want to pretend you can hear what the tracks sound like, this top bass track is going do 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 do, and this bass synth track is going bung 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 bung. So we have the doo-doos and the bung bungs. Let's go ahead and take a look and add in the DDMF 2 EQ Pro here. I'm going to drop this on the bass guitar track. This is what it looks like when you first open it up. Check this out. So we're going to start playing this track, and I have it set to loop. I'll just cover that up now with the plugin. Now the cool thing is here you can go and turn on the analyzer. Boom, and you can see what's going on. Now if you want to see more of this frequency spectrum, you can hold down the control key, left mouse click. So I'm going to hold down control, left mouse click, and drag up and down. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Now, if you hold down shift and then left mouse click and drag up and down, you can move the whole graph. So if you combine them both, see, there you go. Take a good look. That alone is incredibly helpful. Now, the next thing I want to take a look at is immediately when you go ahead and you click anywhere on here, it's going to create a band. You can change this, you can drag it up and down. You change this by using your mouse wheel. You can bypass it by holding down Alt and then clicking that band. You can also bypass by hitting the bypass button. You can double click and remove that. When you click over near the edge of the frequency spectrum, by default, if you click way over here, you're going to get a high pass filter. You can change the way that is. Ooh, sexy, huh? And notice how the frequency spectrum analyzer changes. It shows you the change that's been implemented there. I'll just double click and remove that. If you click a little bit higher up, you can get a shelving filter. Now you can change this at any time. You can either click here with the left mouse button and change that to, let's say, a peaking filter, or any one of these other filters, or a high pass filter with 24 dB per octave. Boom, so a heavy slope, right? That's a heavier slope than 12 dB per octave. We can change where that is. Notice how that graph changes. Oh, sexy right there. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, baby. Okay, I'm gonna take that out. Now, if you click a little bit further up, by default, it's going to give you an analog peaking filter. Again, at any time you can go down here and you can change this to be, you know, a low pass filter and blow out all the high frequencies if you want. One of the big useful points of this, for me at least, is of course you got this resizable GUI. Let's go ahead and turn on the left and right channels by this button right here. Boom. Oh, check that out. Notice this top screen is the left, bottom screen is the right. Make sure you turn on the analyzer if that's what you want on the right channel. Now, the way this graph is adjusted, all the settings here as far as the resolution and the positioning of the graph, they're set individually. So you can drag this up and down and it won't affect the left channel, just the right channel. The right channel's view. Of course, you have makeup gain. Double click to reset that. If you use the mid side, you can change this. Instead of being left right, you can change that to mid and side. The series and parallel button, that's something you'll have to experiment with. That can give you a different sort of phase response. You can put in two different filters and switch it in parallel, and it's going to change the way something sounds. The DDF manual calls that changing something for difficult mixing situations. I have not used that before, but I may on future mixes. At any time, if you add a band, and you can also get rid of it by clicking here and clicking off. This all left mouse button clicks. The Q is extremely adjustable. For example, let's say you want to really notch something out. You can either go over here and you can choose a notch. Boom, and then you can adjust the notch. If you hold down Control and then click on that, I'm still holding Control, look at that, you'll only hear what is within this range. So that's really useful for hearing something that's annoying that you want to notch out. So I'll let go of Control now. And I'll double click that to get rid of it. Okay, we're gonna go back just to the standard view here. Now let's load up a second instance of this plugin. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna take this, drag this sucker over. Now we can go ahead and take a look at both instances at the same time. And here's how we do that. We go over these three little lines right here. Let's resize that. Let's make this big and sexy. That's what it's all about. Big and sexy. Okay. Don't forget the little piano button here. You can just left click right in this area and left click again to make it go away. So these top three lines, you click over here. And the important thing is this light gray area indicates which instance we're looking at. We're looking at the bass synth instance. So I'm gonna double click right here. I'm gonna call this bass synth. And this first instance, that means this is the bass guitar. Now, since we're looking at the bass synth instance, we know that by this light gray area. If we want to see the bass guitar instance at the same time, and notice this bass track is muted, but we're still seeing the frequencies on the frequency spectrometer. Regardless, we'll unmute that. It's a real mixing situation, we would have that unmuted. And if we go ahead and click in this top left box on just to the left of bass guitar, watch. blue dot appears, boom, and there it is. And you can see where these frequencies are just overlapping each other. So that is super helpful. You know which one you're messing with, and you always have to make the other one appear by left clicking in this area. So this plugin is extremely powerful and very friendly to use. It takes just a little bit of time to get used to it, to remember, okay, hold down shift here, hold down control, and then click and drag. But making multiple instances come up, I've never had a problem also with CPU usage. It's really great. Here's where you get the plugin. You can go to ddmf.eu, go check out their products. They have some pretty cool stuff. I know Dave Pensato has ranted and raved about this directional EQ. I haven't used it, but it's Dave Pensato and I trust what he says. Look at that. If you use their LP10, their linear phase equalizer, you can get the humpy thing. Just, oh man, there's the humpy thing. Okay, there's the 2EQ Pro. So you can get that. What's the price on this sucker? Well, check this out. Go to buy the software. Remember the other one was $179. Ooh, only 39 bucks. Oh man. And I'll tell you a little secret. If you wait until around some sort of major holiday, you may be able to get that on sale. Something to keep in mind.